Once upon a time there was a dear little girl who was loved by everyone who looked at her, but most of all by her grandmother, and there was nothing that she would not have given to the child. Once she gave her a little cape of red velvet that suited her so well that she would never wear anything else, so she was always called Little Red Riding Hood.
One day her mother said to her,
"Come, Little Red Riding Hood, here's a piece of cake and a roll of fish. Take it to your grandmother. She's ill and weak, and they will do her good. Set out before it gets hot, and when you're going, walk nice and quickly, and do not run off the path, or you may fall and break the bottle, and then your grandmother will get nothing. And when you are going into her room, do not forget to say good morning, and do not peek into every corner before you do it."
"I will take great care," said Little Red Riding Hood to her mother and gave her hand on it.
The grandmother lived out in the woods a few kilometers from the village, and just as Little Red Riding Hood entered the wood, a wolf met her. Little Red Riding Hood did not know what a wicked creature he was, and was not all afraid of him.
"Good day, Little Red Riding Hood,"
said the wolf.
"Thank you kindly, Wolf,"
Said Little Red Riding Hood in her sweetest voice.
"Where are you going so early, Little Red Riding Hood?"
Asked the wolf.
"I'm going to my grandmother's."
Said Little Red Riding Hood with a smile in her voice.
"And what have you got in your basket, Little Red Riding Hood?"
Asked the wolf in a kindly voice as he could muster.
"Cake and juice. Yesterday was baking day, so poor sick grandmother has to have something good to make her stronger,"
Explained Little Red Riding Hood politely.
"Where does your grandmother live, Little Red Riding Hood?"
A few kilometers further into the woods. Her house stands under the 3 large oak trees. The nut trees are just below. You surely must know it.
The wolf thought to himself,
"What a tender young creature! What a nice plump mouthful! She'll be better to eat than the old woman. I must act carefully so as to catch both."
So he walked for a short time by Little Red Riding Hood. Then he said,
"See, Little Red Riding Hood, how pretty the flowers are about here. Why do you not look around? I believe too that you do not hear how sweetly the little birds are singing. You walk along as if you're going to school while everything else out here in the woods is merry."
Little Red Riding Hood raised her eyes, and when she saw the sunbeams dancing here and there through the trees and pretty flowers growing everywhere, she thought,
"Suppose I take grandmother fresh daisies, that will please her too. It is so early in the day, I still shall get there in good time."
And so she ran from the path into the woods to look for flowers, and whenever she picked one up, she fancied that she saw a still prettier one farther on and ran after it, and so got deeper and deeper into the woods.
Meanwhile, the giant wolf ran straight to the grandmother's house and knocked at the door.
"Who's there?" "Little Red Riding Hood, I am bringing cake and juice."
Mr. Latch called out the grandmother. "I am too weak and cannot get up." The wolf lifted the latch, the door sprang open, and without saying a word, he went straight to the grandmother's bed and gobbled her up like a juicy cheeseburger. Then he put on her clothes, dressed himself in her hat, laid himself in bed, and closed the curtain.
Little Red Riding Hood, however, had been running and picking flowers, and when she had gathered so many that she could carry no more, she remembered her grandmother and set off out on her way to her.
She was surprised to find the cottage door standing open, so she went inside.
"Good morning." She received no answer, so she went to the bed and opened the curtain. There lay her grandmother with her hat pulled far over her face, looking very strange.
"Oh, grandmother,"
She said, "What big ears you have."
"They're better to hear you with, my child."
replied the wolf.
But Grandmother, what big eyes do you have?
Little Red Riding Hood said.
The better to see you with, my dear.
But Grandmother, what big large hands do you have?
The better to hug you with, my dear.
Oh, but Grandmother, what big terrible teeth do you have?
The better to eat you with, my dear.
Then the wolf jumped out of bed and swallowed up Little Red Riding Hood in one big gulp.
When the wolf had filled his belly and lay down again in bed, he fell fast asleep and began to snore very loudly. A huntsman was just passing the house and thought to himself,
The old woman's door's open. I'll go see if she's alright.
So he went into the room, and when he came to the bed, he saw that the wolf was lying in it.
What are you doing here? Said the huntsman. I've been looking for you.
The huntsman realized that the wolf might have eaten the grandmother and that she might still be safe, so he took a pair of scissors and began to cut open the stomach of the sleeping wolf. When he made 2 snips, he heard Little Red Riding Hood screaming, and then he made 2 more snips, and the little bird sprang out crying.
How gross it was inside that wolf.
And after that, the grandmother came out alive as well. Little Red Riding Hood, however, quickly fetched great stones with which they filled the wolf's belly. And when he awoke, he wanted to run away, but the stones were so heavy that he collapsed at once and fell dead.
Then all 3 were delighted. The huntsman went home, and the grandmother and Little Red Riding Hood sat down and ate cake and